Because I'm a little bit crazy. We've always been a huge community that embraces everybody because we're all outcasts in many ways. We don't fit in the normal society already.
So the circle tits. Remember that.
Circle tits.
Hey, that's a good one. You know what? Yeah. We're gonna use that, I think. Circle tits.
Hallo liebe Metal-Meute und herzlich willkommen zum Outcast. Ich begrüße heute auch mal wieder den guten alten Rachel und wir haben Maurizio Iacono zu Gast und darum wechseln wir jetzt zu Englisch und reden über sein neues Projekt Invictus. Hello Rachel, hello Maurizio.
What's up?
Thanks for joining us today.
Hey there.
Hey, alles gut?
Sehr gut, sehr gut. How is your German? Do we do it in German?
Oh, I'm gonna suck at it, man. I'm not good at it. But I understand some words, but not everything. Like it's all these years I've been in Germany, so I have to get at least something. But it's just hard to. It's so far away from my own languages that it's kind of like tough, But it's cool.
Yeah, and it isn't the easiest language to learn, so
yeah.
Totally fine. We're talking about your new project Invictus, which will release your first record exactly this week in 2 days. Unstoppable.
Yeah,
will be released on the 21st of October. The interview will be released a little bit later, but it's hot anyways.
Yeah, that's good.
But at the beginning, I think everybody knows you because of your other projects and from Kataklysm and Ex Deo, but we would like to ask you some introductory questions to dig a little deeper about who Maurizio is. So, Rachel, hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, it's a huge pleasure for us to have you here. I'm a fan since In the Arm of Devastation, and now you're on our podcast, and it's fucking great.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, honored to be here, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I will start with some easy questions. As Gandhi said, just to know you a bit better. Club gig or an open air?
The club gig or open air? Wow. I adore both, but I do like club gigs a lot. They're actually tougher to play than open airs for us, and because I think for a lot of bands also, but depends who you are. But for us, when you're in a club, you're much closer to the fans, and it's a different vibe. When you're in open air, it's louder because there's so many people and it's crazy. But it's not as personal as the clubs. I like to play clubs more personally. I think some other guys in Kataklysm probably or other would like the open airs more. The open airs are just easier to reach so many more people at once. That's the cool thing. But if I have to choose, I'll probably go with club because that's where I started.
Yeah, wine or beer?
Wine.
Okay.
Actually, I like both. Again, same thing, but the Italian blood's gonna go with the wine.
Okay.
Unless it's Oktoberfest, then it's gonna be beer.
Yeah,
of course.
So, barbecue at home or eating in a restaurant?
Oh man, just tough questions, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to barbecue home, but I like to go to a good restaurant and eat some good food. I'll probably choose the restaurant, but if it's a big gathering at my house, it will probably be barbecue. So because it's more fun, when you do something like that. But I do like the restaurants, so.
Okay. Italy or Canada?
Italy.
Okay. That's a quick one.
Trick question. Yeah.
Death or black metal?
Death metal.
Yeah, I would say that, yes.
Always, yeah. Nothing against black metal, but it's not my style, really. It's not my favorite. I like some bands, but not my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. Wall of Death or Circle Pit?
Circle Pit.
Oh, it looks better when you're on stage?
Yeah, like a big tornado. represents more like I have to come up with a new one. Think that because Kataklysm, that's what it is, right? It's like it's like the end of the world by natural devastation, which can be a hurricane, can be anything. Like, so we have to come up with a new strategy for Kataklysm with the circle pits,
Okay.
That circle pits, I think they look cooler from the stage.
Okay. You mean a new kind of pit, or?
Yeah, we have to invent something. I'm thinking about it.
Because there are always new trends. Like, for example, I was 1 or 2 weeks ago at a I'm on a Mars show, and they put their backs into the raw.
Oh, really? They're doing the raw thing on the floor? Oh, no.
Yeah. Maybe you invite some.
That, yeah. There's a lot of people doing it? Like thousands or what?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, maybe not thousands, maybe 50 or 60.
Yeah.
But you could do something more actionable, more dancing style.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I do like we call it the 2 circle pits, which is like 2 big tits going like this. We do those too.
Yeah. And in the middle, they become a wall of death.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the circle tits. Remember that.
Circle tits.
Hey, that's a good one. You know what? Yeah. We're gonna use that, I think. Circle tits. I will see 2 circle tits. You know what? If it becomes famous, it might be because of this podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Probably.
Would be honor.
Perfect.
So riff or solo?
Riff or solo? Riff.
Okay.
I like riffs. I mean, it's a solo is to me a signature. A riff is like an embodiment of the song, Okay. So to me, it's the structure, of a song. A riff is kind of like a signature on top of it. So it's more important for me, like the riff than the solo, because we can do songs without solos. You can't do songs without the riff.
That's right. Playing bass or sing?
Sing now. Yeah. I like to write. I still write a lot, but sing.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a pissed off guy, so I have to always say something.
And the last one, first and last album you brought? The
first and the last album I bought? So the first album I bought was Metallica's Kill 'Em All.
Okay.
First record. And the last album I bought, oh man, because I'm like everybody now, it's all on my...
Yeah, it's on the smartphone, you have Spotify, Deezer, and...
I don't know what's the last record I bought. It's going to sound weird, but it's probably the last, because I always buy my own records as good luck. So it will probably be the last album I bought was probably the Ex Deo record.
Ex Deo?
Oh, okay.
The last one, yeah. I always buy my own albums as good luck since I started.
Okay.
Yeah. The difference now is that I used to buy it at the store, but there's no more stores, so I order it online. Okay. The last Ex Deo record. Yeah, Nero. Yeah, that's the last one.
That's kind of sad. I think it's another celebration when you go to the record store and buy your own record, isn't it? Than buying it online.
Yeah, I miss those days. We used to go like all the time. That's how Kataklysm always also formed, in the beginning, because we used to go to the local store in Montreal in Canada, and we used to go there, and then all the musicians will come in on Saturdays, like we would go there and they'd play music in the place, and it was just metal stuff. It wasn't like a commercial place. It was called Rock and Stock. And that place was like a classic place where they sold only metal. And we would all go there to have some fans and stuff, but like I would be there, let's say 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then at 2 o'clock, the dude from Cryptopsy would come, or the guy from Gorguts, and would just hang out, look at records, and my band, like that, it was just good days, and then it disappeared. Then it disappeared, So it was a scene before. Now it's kind of everybody's in front of computers, and then they go to shows
in front of their smartphones.
They go to shows with their computers now. It's like, hey, look. But I miss those days. I'm glad though that in metal we're still people that like to have product. So we still like vinyls, we still like CDs, cassettes. That's still there. So I like the fact that we're able to continue to have a good scene that continues to do it. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, that's cool. You know, like, because a lot of industry, like maybe hip hop or whatever, they don't really buy product. It's all digital now, you know? So I think we have a special connection to that keeps us kind of different, you know? So that's cool.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still like to have it in our hands, feel it live and all that stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot
or
of
on the wall, you know, if you don't have a player, you're on the wall, you know.
Yeah. That's why LPs. I can't see it.
Yeah, I saw it. Cool.
So that was the question, Switcher?
Yes.
Perfect. So now we head over to Invictus and Unstoppable, as it is a new project after Kataklysm and Ex Deo. I mean, we could talk about those bands for hours and hours, but today it's about Invictus. Mm-hmm. What drove you to do that project? Why a new project after two established projects? I mean, Kataklysm is 30 years old now, Ex Deo 14 years.
Because I'm a little bit crazy. Well, you know, I think the pandemic was what drove this project, like, to me, because I always wanted to do something a bit different in my own regards, you know, something more personal to me, that I had ideas for. But first, I didn't have the time. Second of all, I'm, you know, not only busy with Kataklysm and Ex Deo, I have a management company, I have an agency, I do a lot of things for a lot of bands. So I'm all over the place. But during the pandemic, I think it was shut down. So basically, it gave me a lot of time to think about, you know, and creativity to do stuff, you know. So basically, that was the opening gate part for me. For example, Kataklysm's Unconquered record was finished already before the pandemic hit. It was done in 2019. So we actually were filming a video. It was for the Kill Shot song. And we were in Atlanta, Georgia, in the States, and we were at the airport when they were announcing that they're going to shut down the country. So we had just finished filming it. So that's why that video came out early 2020. But it was kind of, wow, they were able to shoot a video. It's like, no, we did it before, you know. So during that time, the Kataklysm was done, so the creativity output was already done. And then we entered the Ex Deo record in 21 because there was nothing else we could do. We couldn't support Unconquered. We couldn't go on tour. We couldn't play shows. So we jumped onto the Ex Deo record. And by the time that was done, which we started writing in 2020, 21, it got released because we already had some ideas. Then it left the entire year of 21 doing this because we still weren't prepared 100% to tour. However, we were the first tour to ever go out during the pandemic with it was Deicide and Kataklysm in the US, and that was the first tour that finished, you know, and that was the beginning of the reopening, you know. So that was really cool, but we still had a lot of time. And this project was something that we were talking about with Chris Clancy, the guy in the UK that plays in Mutiny Within. He was also the producer behind the Kataklysm record, and he works with Colin Richardson, the two big producers. And we had an idea of working together already. So when that started, the conversation started, we had time in our hands. So for 6 months, I was working with him on doing music. And we didn't know where it was going to end, right? First it was for fun. Then I was going to release the record as like just on my own, like just release it for fun. And it wasn't going to be a record label behind it. But then the word got out and band labels heard the music. And now I had like 3-4 record labels I was fighting to get the album, you know? So we decided, you know, let's make it a bit more serious. Let's release it officially. And let's see where it goes. And that's where we are now. So that's how it pretty much came out. It came out because I had some time to do it, you know, and so it was kind of back to back, right? The Kataklysm, the Ex Deo, and all this, you know. Yeah.
All in a row, yeah. But yeah, perfect that you had that time because I think it's not completely, but a lot different than Ex Deo and Kataklysm.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Clancy had a big part in the songwriting and producing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
One question is, will it be also a complete band? I mean, Jave Dagenais, Jeremy Kling. So you're also part of the band. Will it be a touring band, or is it just for now a project, or will it evolve over the time?
We have a good problem, but it's still a problem. And the problem that we have is that we have a lot of demand at the moment for Kataklysm that's starting to move again. And there's stuff for Ex Deo that I'm putting aside. So I'm in the middle of a lot of stuff that I have to figure out right now. But this record is going to drop in 2 days, and I think 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, on Friday. And I'd like to play a little bit with it live. I'd like to try it, like to see where it goes. But it depends if there's enough interest for it, if people really like the record and stuff. So far, the reviews have been very strong, and people are into it. It is different. It's not super underground. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more commercial than what I do with Kataklysm. It's just a different influence than, because what's the point of doing another death metal record if I have Kataklysm? I didn't want to do the exact same thing. So we'll see. For now, it is a band, more a band than a solo project, to be honest, with the guys that I have in it, because they're all known people, and it's more of a project. I call it more of a project, and then we'll see where it goes, but I'm open to ideas and possibilities to do some shows for sure.
Nice.
And
because I think it's
sorry. There's a lot more melodic in it than in Kataklysm. Is this another side of you that you want to show, that you can also be a melodic musician?
Yeah, it's there's stuff that you can gamble, but with a band that's established like Kataklysm, it becomes very difficult to do that at some point. We have what I think Kataklysm 15 albums. It's difficult to reinvent the band at this point in its career. It's been together for 30 years. People expect something out of Kataklysm. I don't think they want to try too much new things. So for me, this was more of a personal idea. It's more about my personal influences. Like it's more of my DNA in here, like things that I listen to other than death metal, that are in there a little bit, So it's also an homage to a lot of my influences from other bands. For example, like there's some Machine Head in there. There's some Fear Factory. There's going to be a little bit of different things that we're going to touch that are things that I grew up on that I liked. So like I love the album The Manufacturer from Fear Factory. It's one of my favorite records, and there's going to be a little bit of that in there. You know what I mean? So a little bit of different influences from different bands that during the years made my influence who I am. So it's gonna touch up more that. It's a little bit less of the extreme stuff. I was more always a thrash guy. When I first started Kataklysm, I came in the band as the guy that liked bands like Machine Head and Fear Factory or Exodus, Testament a lot. Slayer. I like those bands. And then the singer, he liked the Bolt Thrower, the Napalm Death, and the extreme stuff. Jeff was the Iron Maiden guy, the guy that liked Dissection and things like that. And Big Steph is like, he's always been like the big death metal guy, Unleashed and things like that. So when you combine all of that, you get kind of the Kataklysm sound. If you notice it's there. If you mix all of it, like Steph, like Dimmu Borgir too. So you're going to have a little bit of that when he wrote, and especially on the Shadows and Dust record and stuff like that. So there is a big, huge influence, but this is more my side of the influence on Invictus,
Okay. I think when it comes to songs like Weaponized, I'm also kind of feel metalcore vibes or some Göteborg death. That was pretty interesting. And also what sticks out on the record in general are the pretty catchy refrains, which are not typical, for example, Fear Factory or Exodus. They are more hook-based instead of catchy refrains. So I think that's a pretty new side, and
Weaponized keeps coming back a lot. It was never considered a single on the record, but a lot of people are saying it's their favorite track. There's something about it that there's a big chorus in there, that like grabs you, I think. So some songs are going to have a lot of more Swedish influence, melodic and type of things. The Ghost of My Father's on another one that's kind of very heavy like that. So it depends where you move in the record. So it's really like how you perceive it. So because it moves a lot.
And it changes from time to time. It's more groovy, which I also liked. For example, the second single, Get Up, where you have a really nice groove parts and a great hook.
Yeah.
Also, the three singles who came out, Get Up, Exiled, and Bleed Out, they're all different. If you haven't heard the record out there
it's
yet.
important. It's important because we don't want to just release one side of the record. We have to show that the record is diverse. Like Get Up is very Pantera-like, almost. It's like very.
That's what I thought about.
And that's probably one of my favorite bands ever. Like I was a huge Pantera fan, and that, to me, Phil Anselmo live was awesome. Especially in the early days when he was on, like pure rebel, like didn't give a fuck about anything. So to me, that's metal for me. It's anti-conformist. And he was like that. So this record is very like that as well. Also on the lyrical level and stuff like that. It's very rebel. It's not a record of, yes, everything's great, because it's not, so we are true to who we are and our roots, of metalheads, to be honest, on this album. Yeah.
I think most of the songs are about, kind of standing up for yourself, fight your own way, or fight against other people who oppress you or something like that.
Well, it's anti-control. It's anti, having something to tell you exactly every day how you should live. I think that we are capable as humans to find solutions that are good for everybody, instead of one person deciding this is how it is for everybody. And I don't like that type of thing. It's a record that's against censorship. I'm a very big proponent of freedom of speech and freedom of choice. These two things to me are very important. And there was a lot of things that happened in the last 3 years that I was not a big fan of, for example, things like that. So, but especially censorship, freedom of speech is very important. Even if you don't agree with something, you can ignore it and walk away from it and deny it, if it's not something that you want to talk about. But everybody has to have an opposing view on something at some point, because if not, it's going to go one direction, and anybody else that tries to bring common sense to something will be denied. So, and that's for musicians, especially in metal. It's extremely important that we're capable of writing the things that we want to write about, like that we want to express ourselves about. If you say something that's very stupid, then you shouldn't, it should be ignored. That's what it is. We shouldn't glorify anything. Like we should have the opportunity to express ourselves and our opinions. And I think that we're coming into a society where everything, if you're not part of a system that's in place and that's how they should be, that you're a problem. You're this, you're that. You're getting completely destroyed on all the levels. And I don't agree with that. It's not the way I grew up. And it's not the way I see metalheads in general accepting. We've always been a huge community that embraces everybody, because we're all outcasts in many ways. We don't fit in the normal society already. So imagine telling us that you cannot function in society because you're different. And I can't accept that, like we have to all embrace everybody, and everybody has to do their own thing and respect whatever it is, that people want to do, even if we don't agree with it, So this record is really a little bit of that, a little bit of my own personal things that I grew up, some scars that are still there that I'm revisiting. But it's not a political record. I don't do politics. That's not my job. And I hate when musicians become politicians, it's like bullshit. So I just defend the things that to me are important, for example, for us every day. It's not about who's the president, who's this, who's that. I could give two fucks about any of that stuff. but we have to defend some common rights that are important. I think metal is kind of anarchist type of ideology of nonconformist is also the idea of protecting our rights, as humans. And that's pretty much why I touch a little bit of that. So Kataklysm is not only talking about, like other bands, just Satan every day. We don't. It's not something for me that's interesting. I like to talk about human stuff, and like what we do, but it's very rooted inside. Like you said, when you're down, you have to get back up. That's the song "Get Up." It's about don't complain, do something about it.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's like get up or stay the fuck down. It's like
it's that easy.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, as you mentioned, I think the metal scene is kind of special when it comes to that, because most of us are very open-minded and are willing to talk about different opinions, and maybe not always accepting different opinions, but try to listen to other opinions, like other scenes.
And that should be like that, no matter how, like I said, it's the majority in the end that counts, right? Because we are democracies. And so if the majority thinks that somebody's idea is not good, then it doesn't get to happen. And that's how it should be. It shouldn't be punished or, F you because you're more of a conservative idea or a more liberal idea or whatever. It's stupid to even talk about this. In my opinion, there was never a time that in music we were talking about things like this. We were talking about, girls or beer or wine or this and like the Pits. Did you see that band's, new album? Things like that. Like what happened to that? It got replaced by opinions, everybody's opinion, like in the sense of fighting that somebody else's opinion is not the same as yours. Like we've become that, and I don't like that as much, So I think that concerts are very important because when we go to concerts, we forget about all that stuff. We go to watch the band and we go there and we enjoy the show. And this is
having a good time.
That's our church.
It is.
Our concerts is
pray to the bands on stage,
and the bands to the fans. You know what I mean? Because we thank you. So it's just we're lucky to have the scene we have. We're very lucky.
Yeah, we are. And but I think also in the 80s when the thrash era started, they also had topics about this kind of thing against oppression and all that stuff. Stand up for your rights to party and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But bands like Creator or the others, they were also kind of a little political.
Well, I mean, it's I respect everybody's opinion. Like I'm going to respect it. If that's the way they are, then I'm not going to go, you shouldn't be like that. Backstage, we're going to still have a beer and have a good time and talk about anything. It doesn't have to talk about politics. You know what I mean? So that's the point of it. It's freedom of speech is important, very important for us. You're doing this right now. Imagine that you're not allowed to do it because
wouldn't be
talking
possible.
about metal and metal is not accepted. And you're going to freak out. Trust me.
One question I didn't prepare, but is there a country where you weren't allowed to play because you play death metal? Because you're around for 30 years. Have you tried to go to one of those countries?
So every
said no?
Every country we've been to, we're able to play without having any problems. And I think it's because Kataklysm's lyrics are not controversial in the sense of like, on a religion basis or anything like that. So I think that we were safe. The only place that there was kind of a weird thing was in Indonesia, that where we were supposed to, when we started playing, we were doing sound check, I believe, and we had to stop because they had to do the Muslim prayer in the whole city. So everybody, I think at 6 o'clock, it happens twice, at noon and at 6, I believe. So at 12,
2 times a day.
we were doing our sound check and we had to stop for them to do the prayer and then continue. And then at 6, the band was playing in front of people. The show started. There was an opening band They had to stop for the prayer and then go back. And you'd see all the metalheads like this.
Again.
Yeah. So they were just like, but
okay.
It is, again, I respect the fact that that's how they are. That's cool.
Yeah, that's.
They let me play my music. That's okay. I'll give you the respect.
You let them pray.
That's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
So the song American Outcast, is it about being an outcast, especially in America, or this is a more global thing?
It's more in America, because America. So I don't know if you know, but I live in the States now, right? I've been here.
Okay.
I've been here 20.
In Florida.
Yeah, I'm in Florida at the moment. Yeah, I've been here 20 years. So this country is going through so many changes that it's hard to pinpoint what an American is now, because it's you have so many different versions of what an American is. You have the traditional guy with the flag and crazy. Then you got the one that wants to burn the flag, and then you have so you have all kinds of different thing. And the song is about the one that the common sense American of normal is now become the outcast.
Okay.
Right. So everything is so polarized, extreme left or extreme right, that 99% are in the middle. They see things from both sides that are good and bad, but those guys have become the outcast. They're completely silenced now, So all you see on the news is one side or the other. You don't see anymore the people, which is the majority, which are in the middle. We all want the same things in the end, and that's what that song's touching about. Because living here, I've seen the difference of how it's changed dramatically and fast. So it's crazy. But I think that's all societies in general.
Yeah, it's also kind of social media problem when you just see the things that attract you the most, like violence and all that stuff. Or
absolutely,
when it's about, for example, when it's about Corona, you always see, as you said, the extremes.
Yeah.
And not maybe not also the good things, but always the bad things. And
then that was also a problem about freedom of speech. And like, I never understood what was the problem of somebody asking a question about it. What's the problem of asking a question? Is it really safe? I think it's okay to ask that question. You can't say that. You have to think about your grandfather, or grandmother. I'm like, I get it, but you should be allowed to ask a question, especially if you're going to put something in your body. I'm not anti-vax or anything at all, but the idea is and I've taken plenty of vaccines, and with the alcohol and weed I've smoked in my life, I think is more than dangerous and whatever.
Yeah.
But the idea is that, like you mentioned that, but it's to me that's important. You know what I mean? That we all have the opportunity to discuss. So
and to be informed about how it really is, and not how anyone thinks it is.
Yeah. Not to suppress things that come out. The media was very good at something comes out that's interesting to discuss, they would shut it down, and then there's nobody able to discuss about it, and they would be banned. And it's like doctors and a lot of people like and if you fast forward to now, a lot of these people that lost their jobs, everything now. There's no more mandates, nothing, and it's okay, but they lost their lives, because they didn't want to, a year later. It's kind of, it's unfair in my opinion, like some of the stuff. And like you said, this is just attaching it to what you said about the media decides what you see, they decide this is what you're going to see, the bad and the craziness, because that is called algorithms,
Yeah, clickbait.
They want to just clickbaits, and that's it. That's all they care about. All is money. I honestly hate the new society, the way it is now, because it's all based on greed, like it always was, but it's worse than ever now, in my opinion. All these big corporations, it's all about money, also pharma, everybody. They just want to make money on us, that's it. So.
No.
unfortunately. But let's not get into depression.
No. But is the record in general more about American life, American lifestyle? Because I think on the cover, is there the American flag, or is it just a coincidence that it looks like?
To me, it's an international problem. And the flag, it's kind of a flag in the back, but you only really see the white and red. It could be also Canadian. So
okay.
It kind of represents me and all my influences in my upbringing. So it has a little bit of everything, but it's not only based on American. It's a general idea of it. It's a worldwide problem, in my opinion.
No,
it's definitely in Germany too.
Sure.
No.
Is there?
I don't know how it is in the US, but we have how's it called? Government media, I would say.
Yeah.
Broadcasting stations which just inform. But especially when you're on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff, then it's the algorithm that triggers the extremes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and also in the private broadcasting stations.
Yeah. Well, I wish we had like in news like we used to have, where they just come and say the news. Now it's the opinion of like I said, everybody's allowed to an opinion, but when it comes to news, you should just talk about what the news is, not as a person say this side is saying the truth. It's like, hey, no, just talk about everything and shut up. It's like, that's the way I see it. But I'm a little bit crazy, so maybe it's me the problem.
No, I don't think so.
So you thought there were also some personal lyrics on the record. I thought it was Great of Your Father and the one with a number, the 3665. Is it right?
Yeah. So I'm not going to go too deep with the things with my father, but I had like a pretty rough upbringing. My father was not around for most of my life. He was the stereotypical Italian that was a gambler, a drinker, like a tough guy that grew up from Sicily. So you can imagine all the things that he was involved with, and it was very rough on my family. But he was always good to us, but he was very involved in a lot of crazy stuff. So it kind of was tough on my family. So I, that was kind of a big scar for us, me and my brother especially. And then 3656 is the apartment building where I grew up on when I was a kid, where a lot of my upbringing was made on my character of survival. And because I lived in a very rough area of Montreal at that time. I know Canada seems like this big peaceful place, but where I grew up was very difficult place, and it was a tough area. Yeah. So a lot of fighting in the streets, and I grew up with my fists, so I come from the city, and it's difficult. Sometimes I don't relate with everybody I relate with everybody, but I don't relate with people that, think the world is always beautiful and great. Like I saw both sides of my life. So I don't, I acknowledge both things, that the world, what makes the world is the good and the bad, So my character has been built like that, so as a fighter, pretty much. That's why my lyrics are the way they are, about, surviving, and making it to the top, even if people try to put their foot on your face, it's like, it's a very real experience for me in my music, from the day I wrote Manipulator of Souls to Shadows and Dust to everything, Crippled and Broken. It's all about that, so.
Yeah, I think also from time to time you reflect to those songs. When you said Crippled and Broken, this was also a part of Darkest of Enemies.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, so you saw it, like you noticed that, yeah. So I do come back and throw a little something and see if people get it, So
I got it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, there's always some hints which to your other project, which I really like also at when it comes to Exile, the first single, there was the part Trust No One, which totally reminded me of Ex Deo.
Yeah,
like this epic sound when you shout that.
Yeah. So it's the embodiment of all of it is in one, So I will come back and throw a phrase that I've put like a title I think I've used shadows and dust to somewhere else in another song, and I'll do that, to mess around with a little bit, but might do it
like
again.
that. Like little Easter eggs for the fans.
Yeah.
There was also on Bleed Me Out, kind of a funny thing, maybe a stupid funny thing, but you sing I Never Let It Go, and I had to think about Frozen, the anti-Frozen song.
Oh, wow, really?
Let it go.
Oh, man, it was Never Let It Go. Oh, that song.
Yep. Of course it wasn't.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. But now you fucked me up because I'm going to listen to it all the time with that part, That's cool though. No, yeah. So
no link to that, but yeah. Because my girlfriend watched the movie 2 days ago, and I had it.
And you watch it? Like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Did you know?
It's funny to find little hints.
Yeah. Did you know there were about 12 bands they also named Invictus based on my research on metal archives?
That's been a huge problem for me on this project because the algorithm's all over the place because of that. So it caused a lot of problems initially. It's getting better now, but it's a big problem. We might have to end up changing, like, let's say the U for a V, so that we have an easier way to recognize the band, because it's creating a lot of problems. Also the movie. So sometimes there was copyright problems. We didn't understand why. And it was because of that, like, because the name would come out on stuff that's already copyrighted from the movie, from other bands. So it was all over the place. So we had a very, very, very tough start with this project because of that. So, but I mean, I didn't want to call it anything else, that's what it is. I have that nickname for a while, and sometimes they call me the General or Invictus or whatever. I said it's the easiest thing to recognize me on it without using my own name, which would sound weird on a record, like Maurizio Iacono projects. So I decided to do the Invictus, and we'll see. We might have to modify it a little bit, but we're talking to some people about it, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, might be difficult to read if the U is also a V. And
we know that
another V.
Yeah, I mean, we might just leave it, and whatever happens, happens. As long as it becomes the cool Invictus.
Yeah, of course. For us, it is. So, release this week. What will be next? What can we expect of you, of Invictus?
So we are in the middle right now of. So Invictus is going to get released. We're going to probably do another video for it because we're discussing to continue to promote it, and we're hoping to do a few gigs soon, if that happens. Great. But we are also in the middle of writing a new Kataklysm record right now. So we are. JF is actually flying here in about 2 weeks. To continue writing the record with me, and then Steph is coming in. So we have a lot of work on the new Kataklysm record that we want to release probably end of next year, like somewhere. So or just maybe late summer we're looking at. We do have big plans for this record. So it's something that we need a record that we want to do, that we have ideas for right now that are awesome, and we didn't want to touch it right away, but we have so many good ideas that we decided to go for it, so we're starting now to write that. I don't know exactly when it'll be finished, but because that's happening also at the same time now, so it creates a little bit of time issues again, so, but I'll find a way, we'll figure it out. We'll do it all,
Great. But yeah, sounds like lots of work coming for you.
I like work, so it keeps me going.
Do you ever calm down, relax, and
I do. I do a lot of things, but I do take the time to do stuff, with my family and chill and do some things like that. But it's part of who I am, and I figure that keeps me also young here. If I'm gonna be doing nothing, I'm gonna just get crazy, I think, and old quickly. So I want to keep working.
Yeah, that's also what I really, really liked about Unstoppable, that it sounds I wouldn't say young, but fresh and new and modern.
Yeah,
that's
has a really nice good production. Sound. They did a great job on it, and that we wanted that also to be like that. And I'm not afraid of modernizing things, because I think that's the world is going that way. But I do like to keep things authentic, So it's to find the middle ground that I think is important,
Sure. Perfect. And do you have a favorite song on this album? I mean, is Bleed Me Out and Weaponizer?
Weaponize is a killer track. It's not my favorite on the record, but I do like it a lot. I think it has a lot of soul in it. I like Bleed Me Out. It's one of my favorite tracks for sure. I do like Exiled a lot. I like the first one, You Will Know Who I Am, because it's a very tough track, So, and I like the last song a lot as well. Which would
keeps the wolves at bay.
Yeah, it starts with the piano and everything. I like that song.
Good closing track. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of great songs. I also liked Eagles.
Eagles has a great one. Arena rock kind of chorus in it. Like big one. Especially the ending is really big. Like it lets you listen to it. It's like, okay, So that's why I want to do it live, because it can bring so much different things,
Yeah. Can involve the crowd sing along and all that stuff. That's great. Do the circle tits and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Mitchell, do you have another question?
So no, I'm good with it.
All right. Yeah, because I have to go get my kids from school in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just have one last. That's all right. I mean, we took a lot of time from you, so.
No, it's all good.
So just one last question I would like to know. Is there a question you've never been asked but always wanted to answer?
Oh, man. Not really. I mean, I've been asked a lot of questions in 30 years.
I guess.
a lot of questions. But I think one question that would be cool is have you achieved everything you've always wanted to in music? Because a lot of people, have done everything, but still keep going. So why do you keep going? Right.
So why do you keep going? Because I can't think you achieved everything because you started a new project.
I've achieved a lot. But I have achieved a lot. I'm very grateful, but I think the passion keeps me going. The passion for it. I need it. To me, it's therapy.
Nice.
So I need it. So that's why I have to write, and I have to release everything I have inside of me, I think, or else I explode, So it's like that keeps me grounded and happy. So.
But do you have a goal you want to reach? Do you want to play anywhere? Do you want to play with someone, or?
If one day I can do a tour with Metallica, I'd be very happy, because to me it was the first band I ever bought. My favorite band when I was young. I would like to do a tour with them. Would be great. A show, I've done open airs where we've shared the stage, but I've never played like a tour or like a show. I did Slayer, so that was awesome. But I'd love to do like Metallica. That would be like the pinnacle for me.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah, probably Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah,
also great.
Or maybe a bit.
So I would say we wish you all the best to achieve that.
Right. Yeah, we'll see.
And really appreciate that you took your time to talk to us today. And
thank you.
All the best for all your projects.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your open-mindedness and everything with music, and hope to see you at a gig or something soon.
That would be great.
We saw you at Rock Hearts this year.
It was awesome festival.
Not in a club
place. Yeah, always great time. Always a great time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.